Live NFL trivia every Tuesday night on Twitch at 9 p.m. Eastern. Come show off your football knowledge and have a chance to win cash prizes. Check the link in the description to find out more. And now, on with our feature presentation. One of the great things about the NFL is the mantra of any given Sunday. On any given week, any team can beat anyone. These are professional athletes who are the best in the world at what they do. And even if a team is awful, they can still put up a fight against the league's best. You can never take any opponent for granted. And we've seen plenty of so-called trap games where teams learn this lesson the hard way. Tell that to Tom Landry, because there was one instance where Landry and the Cowboys blatantly overlooked their opponent. They didn't take him seriously in the slightest bit. They knew this game was going to be a breeze and a walk in the park, and they didn't even try and hide it. And the crazy part is that their cockiness actually paid off, as the game turned out to be a cakewalk. In 1977, when the Dallas Cowboys took on the New York Giants, the Cowboys won convincingly in what might be the easiest game of Tom Landry's storied coaching career. And this is the story behind that. Before I talk about the game in question, we need some context leading up to the game. Entering the 1977 season, once again the Dallas Cowboys were favored to be a Super Bowl contender. And why wouldn't they be? They had a top 10 offense and a top 5 defense the year before. They had arguably the best quarterback in all of football in Roger Staubach. The one real knock on the Cowboys from 1976 was that they didn't have a strong running game. And they fixed that with one swing of the bat by acquiring Heisman-winning running back Tony Dorsett, who everyone knew was going to be a star. They were coming off of a season where they won the NFC East at 11-3. They had finished with a winning record every year since 1966, and they had made the postseason all but once since then. The Cowboys were going to be one of the top teams in football. That was no surprise to anyone. And the schedule makers came up clutch with what was scheduled as the Week 1 game, because to open up the 1977 season, they were traveling to Metropolitan Stadium to take on the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota was the defending NFC champion, and alongside the Cowboys, the Vikings were the other team that many experts had pegged to go to Super Bowl 12. This was a heavyweight fight to begin the season, and it's actually kind of surprising that this game wasn't a nationally televised Monday Night Football affair. However, the game lived up to the hype and then some. The game was expected to be a close contest between two of the top teams in all of football, and the fans got more than they bargained for. With the score tied at 10 apiece, after Minnesota hit the game-tying 31-yard field goal courtesy of Fred Cox with under 2 minutes left in regulation, the Cowboys had a chance to win the game when Efrain Herrera lined up for what should have been a chip shot 27-yarder. Instead, the kick missed wide left. That meant that we were heading into overtime, where the Cowboys would still wind up victorious after Roger Staubach ran it in from 4 yards out. Dallas won 16-10 on a play that made Landry nervous and antsy. As Landry said afterwards, "I don't like to see Roger running the football unless the game depends on it." The game solidified the Cowboys as Super Bowl contenders, and at minimum, the favorites to get out of the NFC. Following a tightly contested game against an incredible opponent like that, they were set to take on the New York Giants in Week 2. How did the Cowboys prepare for that game? Simple. They really didn't. Entering the 1977 season, the New York Giants were not expected to do a whole lot. They were atrocious in 1976, starting the season 0-9 and switching coaches midway through, eventually giving the keys of the franchise to John McVay. Over the previous 4 years, the Giants had a losing record all 4 years and had won 11 of their last 44 games. When you're only winning 25% of your games, that's not good. You could easily make the argument that they were the worst team in football during the mid-70s, and their dysfunction was so bad that I even made a video about it, which you can check out by clicking the card in the upper right corner. But to open up the 1977 season, they pulled off an incredible upset. Against Washington, a team that made the postseason the year before and had consistently been one of the best in the NFC under head coach George Allen, the Giants shocked just about everyone when they won it 20-17. It was an absolutely wild game. The Giants led 10-0 after 3, then Washington scored 17 straight to take the lead, only for the Giants to score 10 points in the final 2 minutes of the game, including a 30-yard field goal with no time left courtesy of Joe Danello. The result sent shockwaves around the league. That is, to everywhere except Dallas, because the Cowboys could not care less about the Giants. When asked about whether or not the Giants were contenders, Landry said, "You can't be a contender with a rookie quarterback. There's no way." He refused to say anything good or complimentary about their offense, and just about the only good thing that he said about the team was that they were spirited, which is what you say about a bunch of guys that try hard but just aren't very good. The Dallas media wasn't taking the Giants seriously either, and while you can't necessarily control what the media says, you can control what takes place in your own stadium. And outside of the ticket office, a sign calling the Giants clowns was posted. The sign was not removed, and an inside source within the organization said that when the team was watching film of the Giants, they were falling asleep. For the Cowboys, who had won 5 straight and 9 of their last 11 against the Giants, this was going to be a walk in the park. New York knew all of this. They knew they weren't being taken seriously. By this point, they had a bulletin board of material so large that it could have gone from Giants Stadium to Shea Stadium. Starting strong safety Clyde Powers said, "Wouldn't it be funny if we beat them? They don't take us seriously." The Cowboys weren't even trying to hide the fact that they knew they were going to win. Now, you might be saying that this could be because they're looking ahead to their opponent the next week. If it's a team like Washington or the Rams, that makes sense. Teams will often fall into that trap of looking ahead to good opponents. I can't say that here, though, because the next opponent for the Cowboys after this was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I can assure you, nobody was looking ahead to Tampa Bay. Remember when Leicester City won the Premier League at 5,000 to 1 odds and how incredible that was? The preseason odds for the Buccaneers winning Super Bowl 12, I kid you not, were 100,000 to 1. They were 20 times higher. The Bucs had not won a game yet in their franchise's history, so I can safely say that this is not a possible explanation. The Cowboys simply just didn't think anything of the Giants. The players were sleeping in film sessions. There were signs of the team facility not taking the Giants seriously. Head coach Tom Landry flat out said it himself that the team was not good. This was going to be an easy game, and they weren't hiding it at all. Sure enough, this cockiness was completely justified. Dallas came out of the gates absolutely swinging. On the second drive of the game, starting quarterback Jerry Goldstein threw an interception. A few plays later, Roger Staubach ran it in from 2 yards out to give the Cowboys an early 7-0 lead. When the Giants got the ball back, on literally the first play from scrimmage, running back Doug Hodar fumbled, and the Cowboys recovered. And later in the quarter, Preston Pierce had scored on a 10-yard touchdown pass from Staubach, making it 14-0. 1 quarter in, and the game was looking like it was going to get out of hand. On the very next drive for the Cowboys, they drive all the way down the field and score their 3rd touchdown after Doug Dennison punches it in from a yard out. That's now 21-0 in favor of the Cowboys. And then with the Giants needing to get something going to stop the bleeding, I'm not quite sure what Joe Pasaric is doing here, but it's another turnover for the Giants as the Cowboys recover the fumble. And sure enough, Dallas capitalizes as the legend of Tony Dorsett begins on this play right here. It's an 11-yard touchdown run, the first of his career, and it puts the Cowboys up 28-0. Midway through the second quarter, and Dallas is already up 4 possessions. Considering no team in NFL history at this point had ever blown a 28-point lead, it's fair to say that the game was already over. Dallas led 31-7 at the half and won at 41-21, with backup quarterback Danny White even getting to throw a few passes. Turns out, the game was just as easy as Tom Landry and the Cowboys thought it would be. The Giants would struggle the rest of the way, and they finished the season at 5-9, with one of those losses being an embarrassing affair against the Atlanta Falcons, which you can learn more about by clicking the card in the upper right corner. And the Cowboys would go on to win the Super Bowl, winning their 2nd title in franchise history. The first 2 games that the Cowboys played were a pretty good indication of how that season was going to go for them. Obviously, the Cowboys have had games where they won by more, and they've had games where they completely annihilated their opponent. But something like this is incredible. In a league where you can't take Sundays off and expect to do well, the Cowboys proved everyone wrong. Tom Landry coached the Cowboys for nearly 3 decades, but considering the circumstances, this might have been the easiest game of his entire career. Be sure to like this video, ring the notification bell, and subscribe down below if you haven't already, as it helps the channel out a lot. And be sure to check out Twitch every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern for a chance to play NFL trivia and win cash prizes. Link in the description below. If you want to see videos like this condensed down to 60 seconds, then follow me on TikTok at JaredGator9 and subscribe to 60-Second NFL History on YouTube. Also, special thanks to all of our Patreon supporters for helping the channel. Your support is greatly appreciated. So you can become a patron and request future video topics in the description below.